look at some of the farms on PulseX, because that's one of the good places to look. And then we look at some of the farms on PHUX, and we compare the options, and then we can look at what's there. And I actually have I have a third option that I'd like to pull up too. There's something called the Farming Wizard that the Hocus Pocus guys have put out, and it actually gives you an overview of every farm on the PulseChain that has basically that's a fork of the Sushi Swap Master Chef contract, including 9-inch, for example. So there's some good options out there, but there's also some options I would be concerned about. So our safe options, I think, are 9-inch, PulseX, obviously, and PHUX. That's where I would do most of my staking, less on things that I hadn't heard of at this time. So let's take a look first at PulseX. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
We'll go from there. Okay, so here we go. Do we have her up there? We do. Okay, so on PulseX, we have a number of different farms, but the thing I want people to understand is the impermanent loss ratio on some of these is huge, and that's a very serious concern, especially at this point in what I believe to be the bull market. So at the top, we have what is probably our safest pair that's going to have the least impermanent loss, meaning that these things are going to move up and down together mostly, and I think that's the PulseX and Pulse pair. And since the Hex PulseChain community is pretty smart, they understand that, and that's why this one is paying the lowest. It's because the most people are participating in it. $54 million is in this pool, and because it has more money in it, it's paying less than some of the other ones, right?
It's also the least incentivized too. If you can you click the calculator, and then the calculator for the APR, right beside the percentage.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
And then click details at the bottom.
Details.
Toby one mentioned this the other day. That was interesting. Yeah, you can see the multiplier there. So that one's 100x.
Yeah,
looks like. And then the other ones you can see are much higher too. So I think you're right. Basically, a combination of that and the incentivization multiplier. Yeah.
You bet. But definitely, when more people come into these pools, the amount that it pays out goes down proportionately. Correct. Right? And that's how most farms work, more or less, including the PHUX exchange, including 2 PHUX via the PHUX exchange, is that there's going to be that difference. So if we look at the one that's paying the most, which today we have a very close tie between USDT and DAI to Pulse. Okay, so we have USDT is winning the second. USDC, 83%. And change, right? So $14 million in that pool. Thanks for that tip, Max. I hadn't looked at that previously.
Very easy to miss. I know I missed it for a while too. Okay,
so we have 150x farm multiplier. So yeah, they're incentivizing you to participate in this one a little bit, and they kind of have to, because this is going to be one of the worst impermanent loss pools, because we know that USDC is not going to go much above $1, but Pulse could go up many multiples of what it is right now. Or this one's USDC to Ethereum. Okay, my bad. USDC from Ethereum to Pulse. Yeah. There we go. Sorry. Yeah, USDC.
Hard to read sometimes. Yeah,
it is. So we know that USDC is going to be $1 all day long, and that Pulse could go up and down by 50% or by multiples. Like if Pulse goes up 10x, well, USDC is not going to go up 10x, and you're going to lose a large portion of your gains to it being converted into USDC. You'll end up with less Pulse in your wallet and more USDC. You'll still make more money than if Pulse didn't go up 10x, but it'll be greatly reduced compared to something like this PulseX pool, where likely maybe one goes up 10x and one goes up 8x in the same timeline, but like they're not going to totally leave each other behind, which is 100% a guarantee with the stablecoin situation, right? So, and then when we get, like moderately less risk on something like this Hex Pulse, they're maybe not going to be as close paired. And then these Inc ones are a bit of a wild card. And let's look at the multiplier in these Inc ones and see what the deal is. Okay, so we have a 200x multiplier on the Inc. So they're really incentivizing you. But we all know that Inc was a lot lower than it was right now, and its main utility is this billionaire guy buys it sometimes. So I think it could go down is also possible, or it could go way up and leave you behind on the other side. So these ones are also a little riskier, though they are paying quite a bit more, like 3 times more than the PulseX Pulse pair. So, there's value here. but it's changing all the time. And even as we're looking at it, these numbers just change. Like they're not exactly the same. We just gained a percentage on ink down here, and they're going to go up and down continuously throughout the day. But definitely impermanent loss is the thing that I think people should understand and consider that when they're doing these. But when you think about impermanent loss, and this is one thing that most impermanent loss calculators don't do, and I've been able to find some that do, you have to consider that if you're getting some sort of token on top, like a yield token, a bonus token, like the ink token or the FHUX token or the 2FHUX token, you have to weigh the value of that against the impermanent loss. So if you were down 10% from what you would have been if you had just held both tokens separately, but you received 50% in value from the incentive token in this particular scenario by participating, then you're actually up 40% effectively, right? So it's it's a big picture thing, and it's a long-term thing. You don't go in these for a day or even a week. Like you should commit to, in my experience, and this isn't financial advice, this is just what I've found, is that, you're 3 months in a yield farm, unless you have a very specific plan, or you're doing some sort of yield farm sniping thing, which is a talk for another day. 3 months is a good timeline. Minimum.
Okay. Yeah. We hit on FHUX and I'm curious about the hocus pocus thing, but yeah,
you bet. We'll hit that
10 minutes left. Can we pack it in 10 minutes?
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing that one. And
I love to see the overview of different options and stuff too, because
yeah,
very cool.
Let's do it. Now I'm just going to hit on a couple FHUX pools here because it's we could go pretty deep. So let's find. First, we're going to look at stable pools. Okay. So it's pools with just stable tokens, which are done differently on the FHUX exchange than the pools that aren't just stable tokens. And there's a reason for that. It's so that the fees are very low to trade from one to another, and there's a good incentive to do that. So if we look at these and we look at the yield right now, right, we can see that the top paying one is this Coast to USDC pool. Now, but right now, because Coast is in between front end providers, there's no way to redeem Coast for $1. So it's a little off its peg. So I'm not going to recommend that one today, but other days, this is a good pool too. So we're going to look at this bridge stable pool, which is great. These are just the bridged options from Ethereum. This is the safest option on the PulseChain. You can make up to 18%. If you did it through the 2FHUX front end, it would likely be that 18% on just stables, just pairing up USDT, USDC, and DAI from Ethereum, not the copied versions. So safe, easy option that the FHUX exchange provides. There's zero impermanent loss with this option most days. So that's the kind of thing you could move in and out of, even if you had to be there for a week. Why would you not want to make that for a week on $10,000? I would. We're going to take a look at the voting page because that's going to help me find what I'm looking for. I want to take a look at some of these Maximus DAO pools, right? There's a couple of note. So these are the Maximus DAO tokens on the PulseChain, right? Paired with a HEX from the PulseChain. So we have HEX from the PulseChain, all the different Maxi tokens ranging in this case from a 1-year HEX stake to a 15-year HEX stake is what these tokens represent. And through the 2FHUX front end, you get around that 38%, which is about what HEX promises, I think, except for you're 100% liquid, right? And these tokens sometimes appreciate faster than HEX because they are these long stakes attached to them. In 15 years from now, I would love to have a bag of Maxi tokens. It's going to be worth a lot more per unit than a HEX token on the day. So, to me, this is just HEX paired with 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 HEX. And you can have up to 8 tokens. This one is 6. Minimal impermanent loss. Of course, there's going to be some difference. Sometimes there's a premium being paid for one of these in some way, but they're going to move up and down at a very similar rate over a very short period of time of like a week or a month. So this is another pool that maybe you can move in and out of in a shorter period of time and get some gain without having huge impermanent loss. So big win there. Another one, probably my favorite one right now, and I haven't looked at it since the vote went through, but I feel like it's going to be good. Okay, so this is Maximus tokens, 15-year stake on PulseChain, paired with the team token. Okay, good. It's still awesome. 130% APR if you stake this through the 2FHUX front end on I know the team token is a little more complicated. It's adding up some different things, but basically hex paired with hex again with 130% APR, and you're 100% liquid. So like this beats hex staking right now. It might not every day all the time, but you are participating in hex staking because of the nature of the Maxi tokens. It really just, you are still participating in the hex staking ecosystem. You're not going against, the ethos of Richard Hart. We're still, playing all the games. We're just doing it in a really smart way where we can take this yield every minute of every day. We can be making this and, do something else with that and not have to sell our main bag, which is basically hex in this case. So fantastic. And because we're the PulseChain and we can bridge things from Ethereum to the PulseChain, the Maximus tokens are perfect for that. So you have like a whole suite of the Maximus tokens from Ethereum where we, I know there's some conflict over this, but I feel like the Maximus guys, as well as the Magic Carpet Ride guys, kind of solved the Ethereum cost staking problem in various ways. And this is a great one. Like these are Maximus tokens from Ethereum, bridge the PulseChain. Okay, so we got paying up to 37%. So we're right around that hex staking number. But you have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tokens, including hex from Ethereum with 3 years, 7 years, 10 years, and 15-year hex stakes, all tokenized, all liquid, 24 hours of every day. And paying you to do the same thing that you're supposed to do on the PulseChain with cheap fees instead of on Ethereum, even though they're from Ethereum. So big win.
E-hex, E-derivatives for whales or staked pulled versions of it. Like why not? Still works.
Yep. So these are solid choices. They're not the only choices. Like there's some pools on there that have ink, that have PulseX. There's many pools that have Pulse as part of the pool, right? And we can have up to 8 tokens in a pool. So that's, a pretty serious, pretty serious number of options that you have there. Now, some of those are paying less and some of them are paying more, but those ones we just looked at, guys, like, can you see what I mean about like, there's going to be so little impermanent loss there that it's going to be, infinitesimal compared to what you'd experience in pairing like Pulse with USDT, for example.
Yeah. Especially with the PHUX added on top as well to get those higher APRs. It's kind of a bit of a no-brainer, right? So yeah.
You bet. And I won't go into the exact details, but basically, like the boost that you see here is the boost like between the 16% and 37%. That's the boost that you would get if you had a bunch of PHUX tokens locked for a year yourself. And you can come to the 2PHUX front end and basically get the same thing without having to lock PHUX tokens for a year. So there's more details. It's a nuanced thing. There's a lot of variables, and you're getting the 2PHUX token or the prime 2PHUX token as additional yield. But that's basically it. Like, why would you not take 37% instead of 16% if you could?
It's there. I just want to say there, like, it's basically one way of looking at 2PHUX of saying, okay, this APR, 16% is what you would use, you would probably get as an individual, and the upper end, the 37% is what you would get using 2PHUX. Is that what you would expect to happen?
It's going to be variable, and we can't guarantee an exact that it's always going to be 2.5x. I say that's the maximum because that is the maximum that is possible. Though the truth is, if the other tokens you're getting, like the 2PHUX token, which will likely naturally be worth more than the PHUX token, if it goes up in value, your gain could be even greater. But generally speaking, people are going to get a lot more than they'd be able to get by themselves, unless they're a super PHUX whale who has a very large amount of PHUX staked. And there's games you can play where like, oh, you have $100 worth of PHUX staked, and then you put $10 only in an LP pool. Like, yeah, if you want to do that with $10, go to town. But if you're a serious, liquidity farmer, then that's not what you want to do. And 2PHUX is going to provide a front end where you can get that boost and you can get these additional tokens without having to jump through weird hoops or be pressing 1,000 buttons. And then combined with Tetra, and it's a very natural mix to work these things with Tetra, you'll be able to save a lot of button pressing, and that auto compounding for small amounts, it's just going to be huge.
We got 60 seconds. What do you guys want to spend it on?
I can show you this other screen if you like.
Let's do it. 50 seconds. I'm keeping track this time. No, this is really good. I wish I had more time today. I just have an appointment, but man, thank you for taking us through all this stuff. I really like it.
Okay. So guys, caution with this. This is the hocus pocus farms, farming wizard. It just shows you everything is on PulseChain that has this type of contract. You can see there's all kinds of things on here. You can search for certain things, like you could search for just show me 9-inch pools and so on and so forth. And we can see here like the Nope token, the Solid X tokens, they're all here. Things with PDI, all these different farms. It shows you the APR,
also,
lots of stuff.
Really good.
Yeah. So I think this is a resource. It's a resource that you have to be cautious with right now. But for me, this is something I like to glance at to be like, hey, what's going on? What are the deals? And some of these deals I would not take. And I can sort this by APR, right? And we can look at, okay, what's the best deal? Okay, which happens to be at the bottom. Okay, well, I can get 3,000% on the iBond and farm token LP. Well, if you've never heard of those, don't press the deposit button, right? That may not be a good choice because, these may be unverified contracts. There's different nuances that if you don't understand it, don't do it. If you do understand it, right? Like if you're a pro and you want to do this in a sequestered wallet, and you want to put $10 in that pool and see how quick you get your $10 back, then do it, right? But for us three here, like, we could play that game, but anybody can get caught, right? So, we have to be cautious. But like, oh, look here, there's a dick with butt to probably PDI pool, that's real die. There's some interesting options that won't be present on the PHUX exchange for one.
Just hearing that sentence is just cracks me up. Let me squint my eyes. Oh, that's okay, that one, yeah.
But some of these are solid. Like this is 9-inch. This is 9-inch paired with BBC, right? Like we can look like this is Spark Swap. Here's another one that I should have mentioned them before. I also believe they are a solid option for this sort of thing, right? Though you'd have to look at the individual pools. So Spark Swap paired with the GOAT token from the DGen community. I believe those are both solid communities. And it's via Spark Swap, and this just gives you a front end. And you could do the same thing through the Spark Swap front end, or you could do it right here, and you can actually manage. You could have 50 of these farms running on this page, and there's a claim all button where you could claim all the yield from every single farm. So I think we even have, PulseX on here. Yeah. So we can even do it with, we can do it with 9-inch. We can do it with PulseX. We have some really solid options here, as well as some kind of sketchy options, in my opinion. But maybe some of these sketchy options won't be sketchy. Maybe the trophy farm that I'm not familiar with, and maybe they'll end up being a really big part of the community, and that'll be an awesome thing that you found them here. So it's a great learning tool, and it is a great utility thing as well, in my opinion.
Awesome.
And that's from Hocus Pocus. So Hocus Pocus.
I put the link in the chat.
Dot Finance. Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Links in the chat. Yeah, be careful if you are playing with new stuff you haven't heard of before. You can always use a burner wallet, do all that stuff, see how it goes, and all that too. But be careful out there with the farms.